Have I ever told you about the time that I went rollerblading? I'm sure I have, but you'll have to listen to it one more time because it's perfect for today's conversation. I woke up one morning with a New Year's resolution in my belt, deciding that I was going to be more active and that I was going to rollerblade to work. I was in college and my roommate had rollerblades, and I decided that that would be perfect for me. So I got dressed in my business clothes, put my shoes in a backpack, and I set off. Now, I was a great roller skater in my day, but rollerblades had often kind of eluded me, and I'd never quite figured out how to use the brake on the back. So for me to stop, I would just roll onto the grass. And it all worked great for the 4 blocks to my office, and then I entered from the rear of the business buildings. And what I never realized in a car that I quickly found out in rollerblades is that there was an ever so slight decline. And I start picking up speed. And I start to panic because I look around and there is no grass. I'm trying to figure out how to use the stoppy things in the middle of as I'm picking up speed. And yet I figure out that that is not working. And I round a corner to come around to the front of the building, and I see a red telephone booth, just like the classic ones they have in London. And I think to myself, this is perfect. I'm just going to go tap up against that phone booth and I will be able to stop, and then I can get the rest of the way to my office. Well, I was going so fast that tap was a slam. I fell flat on my back so hard it knocked the wind and the humility out of me. And I had to turn my head because it was a very busy day and there were cars going by at that intersection, and I know people had to watch, and I did not want them to see my face. So I am turning away, trying to catch my breath. When that cycle goes through, I decide I can try to sit up again, and I take the rollerblades off, put my shoes on, and then just walk the rest of the block to work. I tell you this story now because it was not my only embarrassing experience. If you've been here for a while, I built my business on my embarrassing experiences. And I'm grateful for the lessons that they teach me and for the opportunities that I know that come from this experience. And from this experience, I learned 2 important principles. Number 1, Michelle McCullough should never be on rollerblades ever again. And number 2, Michelle's initial goal of figuring out how to be more active and get more exercise in is always worthwhile. But it also means that sometimes I have to be a little creative and also be mindful of my current skills at the moment. But it does mean that I was given the opportunity to say, hey, I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to find something else to do instead. As we think about life, most of life is about a principle just like this. Noting that we have moments that knock us flat on our back, that give us an opportunity to recalibrate and refocus and to decide what matters most, and then to get up and do it again. We have to figure out how to get out of bed every day, even if the day before us was hard. We have to go back into the office, even if we've had a project go wrong or a bad interaction with a team member or a boss. We have these moments that teach us and try our resilience and give us opportunities to focus on how are we going to bounce back? What are we going to do to be able to move forward so that we can have what we need in life and so that we can grow and progress and be humans who don't just become stagnant all the time. As we talk about resilience and as we look at some of the data that we found in our research study, I want to share with you what we basically considered the core foundation of resilience for us. First and foremost, that resilience is the ability to be able to remain optimistic even when you have challenges or setbacks in life, personally or professionally. And interestingly enough, as we surveyed working Americans, we found that resilience plays out not just in personal life, but in work life as well, especially as people are dealing with team environments, interactions with their boss or other team members, and understanding how resilience impacts or affects their ability to be productive. Here are some interesting statistics that I found in the research. 75% of those studied said that they knew that if they were more resilient, they would be better off in their life, both personally and professionally. 77% of working Americans believe that resilience should be a business priority in organizations today, meaning that we should be talking about it more. I hear all the time from people, happiness is a fluffy subject. Resilience is a soft skill. But what this research shows is that it is a critical and important part of the operations of every working organization, large and small. Whether individuals worked for small startups or individual solo entrepreneurs, or whether they worked for companies that had more than 5,000 employees, all of them noted the importance of resilience in their lives. They noted that resilience would increase their productivity. Resilience would increase their ability to be a better team player. It would increase their creativity. It would increase their ability to be able to interact with their boss. But they also said that 70% of working Americans said that they would be more resilient if their leadership was more resilient. This also means that it's not just about mid-level employees or entry-level employees. At every level of the organization, resilience needs to be discussed and it needs to be trained. So here are some of my recommendations to help your employees be more resilient and things that you can do as an organization to improve resilience among your employees. Number one, help them find resources that will help them think about resilience and understand how to build it for them. The study showed that people are interested in learning by both podcasts, articles, videos, and a wide variety of different types of media. You could easily have some sort of video series or a podcast that you do internally just for your employees on happiness and resilience to help them understand how they can bounce back from the setbacks that happen at home and at work. It's not surprising that if somebody is having a challenge at home, it's difficult to be focused at work. And if somebody is having a challenge at work, it's difficult to interact with friends, family at home. And that resilience plays a role both personally and professionally, regardless of where the initial stressors come from. And so if as an organization, you put a focus on helping people improve resilience within their own lives, just like a muscle, the more you use it, the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes, the more you know that resilience is something that can be strengthened, the more you're able to look at different aspects of your life and to figure out how you can look at a circumstance and say, okay, I didn't love that that happened, but how can I continue to move forward from here? That kind of training is important. So as you think about upcoming sales conferences or corporate retreats or leadership connections, find ways to talk about resilience so that employees can start to see it as common language, commonplace, and figure out how to make it part of their daily life. Number two, find ways to train at both levels and all levels in the organization. This is not just an entry-level issue and it's not just a leadership issue. But the messages that they get at each of those levels are different. So there might be different training that happens for entry-level and mid-level managers, and then also training that happens for directors, VPs, and that CXO level so that they can better have conversations with their teams so that they can lead discussions on what it means to bounce back when something doesn't quite go right. You can have conversations with your sales teams after a sales quarter where quotas are not met and have conversations that say, hey, we don't have to let this get us down. How can we move forward? What can we do differently? What are the actions that we're going to take this quarter that are different than last quarter? When you're meeting with the production team and they're looking at their order accuracy and their percentages are low, instead of saying, hey, this is a problem, talk about the solutions. Help train your team from every level of the organization to be problem solvers. Help them understand what they can do to move forward from challenges and create conversations where it's healthy to have those conversations at every level of the company. Allow teams to talk together, allow managers to talk together, allow different departments to work together to talk about it so that everyone knows that resilience is a value within the organization that matters, and that as an organization, you care about your employees becoming resilient. The good news is the study shows that people believe that they have the control to improve resilience in their lives, which means that as an organization, they just need the training. So whether you choose to bring in outside resources or whether you handle it as your own leadership team, know that resilience training is important. As you look at your bottom line, as you look at your profit and loss statements, as you look at your teams, and you look at the engagement of your organization, you might find that employees are not as productive as they used to be. In fact, you might be looking around and noticing that overall production is down. Maybe even morale is a little bit low. Maybe you notice a lot of turnover in your organization. All of these symptoms are part of a greater problem of employee engagement, and resilience is a core value that will improve employee engagement. If individuals know that they have the ability to fail and then come back stronger, they actually are more likely to do that in organizations where they feel safe. If they don't feel comfortable growing as a human within the organization, or that challenges or setbacks are met with harsh conversations only around KPIs and personal improvement, and there's no level to be human, they will find another space where they feel like it is safe to be human. And so know that while it is important that you minimize mistakes, that you help people become stronger, that you eliminate the challenges that come from order inaccuracy, low sales, low performance, low productivity, all of that needs to be done in an environment where people feel like they are allowed to grow and be human at the same time. Having that resilience training is critical. So thinking about your organizations, have leadership discussions, talk about what you can do to improve that conversation, because more than anything, we need to be having this conversation so that it's not swept under the rug and that it's not disregarded as something that doesn't matter. When we call things like happiness and resilience soft skills, we make them lower in priority. And while it's important for us to have other conversations regarding sales topics, being able to understand the products and benefits of your service offerings or your products, having all of that understanding is important, but being able to have the emotional wellness and resilience will be key in helping you grow to the next level of your organization. I'm cheering you on as you figure out your own run into the telephone booth moments and how you as an organization can stand up, brush yourself off, and find new solutions to old problems. As an organization, building your resilience muscle will build the resilience muscle of your team, I promise.